Last but certainly not least here, obviously the ultimate dream match. We've talked about it. Why didn't it happen? It should have happened. Of course, Hulk Hogan versus Stone Cold Steve Austin. When you talk about the two biggest stars of all time, maybe the two guys that go on Mount Rushmore before anybody else, Hogan and Austin, the big star of the 80s and 90s versus the big star of the like kind of basically late 90s there, and the Monday Night Wars WWF versus WCW. Hogan and the NWO kicking WWF's ass for 2 straight years. Then all of a sudden we get the Montreal Screwjob. We get a lot of interest in heel Mr. McMahon and who is going to give him his comeuppance. Who's going to kick his ass? And it was none other than Stone Cold Steve Austin. And he was, man, it was the lightning in a bottle. Didn't act like a babyface, but he certainly was because he was one of the most over guys of all time. He completely flipped the script, flipped wrestling up on its head. We got the Attitude Era. We got a huge Monday Night Wars. We were spoiled as fans big time. So when the WCW eventually loses WWF, obviously the main event that evening, and I was at this Raw, April 13th, 1998. I was at this Raw in Philly. Austin versus McMahon. Remember, with one arm tied behind my back. Austin advanced that night, and that was what broke the 83 weeks of dominance, really 90 weeks of dominance, really 2 years of dominance from Hogan, from WCW, from the NWO, and that would lead you to basically a huge run from Austin, huge run from the Attitude Era, huge run to WWF, and WWF never really looked back. I mean, eventually they really kind of put the nail in the coffin in early 1999. But really, when you think about it, Austin is the one that did it. So when Austin and Hogan have the chance to wrestle in WWF, WrestleMania 18, 2002, doesn't happen. Austin refuses to work with Hogan because he didn't want to do it. He said Hogan didn't want to work with him years ago in WCW. He didn't think they'd have a good match. Every excuse you can ever think of. Bottom line, he didn't want to do it. He kind of reneged on it. So what happens? The Rock does it, and Rock and Hogan have one of the all-time greats, probably the greatest WrestleMania match of all time, maybe tied with Bret Hart versus Steve Austin, WrestleMania 13. But man, what could have been between the two biggest stars of all time? Still, you get Hogan and Rock, two of maybe three biggest stars of all time, because I put Austin a tick over Rock because I think Rock kind of was made a little bit by Austin, but that's a different story for a different day. But bottom line, here it is. Hogan Austin never happened, should have happened, is the ultimate dream match. The two biggest stars of all time, the two big Mount Rushmore guys, the two biggest draws ever in the history of the business, right there, Hogan and Austin.